of the APPG for Beer, the member for Dudley South. It is an honour to serve as his deputy and the Labour lead in our House on the issue of beer. I must declare an interest, not in my declaration of interest, but that I am the honourable member for the Titanic Brewery, the best small brewer in the United Kingdom. I think I'm going to be heckled, Mr Deputy Speaker, throughout this by my honourable neighbour. Titanic has benefited hugely from the Small Brewers Relief, which I'll touch on in a moment. But I'd like to put on record my thanks and for the support that I received, but also for the investment they've made in my community, to Keith and Dave Bott, who have ensured that small brewers have had a voice in this place and others for many years. Mr Deputy Speaker, it is a pleasure to talk about a B word that has nothing to do with Brexit. I think we can all agree that we have spent enough time for a little while. So instead, I'd like to talk about the value of pubs to our society. And whilst the sector supports more than 1 million jobs in the country, and we heard various statistics from my honourable friend, the reality is that we need to touch on the other aspects that the pub sector delivers for our community, both in terms of loneliness and the impact on, especially on older gentlemen with somewhere to go, but also on the impact of our communities. I will give way.
That my honourable friend has allowed me to intervene. Do they recognise that social isolation in older groups, that it's important that we link community pubs with craft breweries in our own constituencies, such as Loch Lomond Brewery and the Lennox Brewery in my own, because what we do is we reduce social isolation and we reduce consumption of alcohol at home.
I think there is a huge opportunity for us to have a debate about the benefits of off licence versus on licence, and the support that you get when you actually enter a pub, and the responsibilities of the landlord, and that is especially the case when we talk about loneliness. But I will give way.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I was stirred to action by the words used by my good friend, member for Stoke-on-Trent, who used the word older gentleman, and I qualify. But I am not lonely. But I want to say one thing. The way we keep our pubs alive in our community is for people to visit the pubs. And if we get more people going to the pubs, then they will live longer. And I think that's very important. And that, by the way, includes me.
Thank you very much, and I thank my friend for his intervention. I have to say that I think a pint of steerage from the Titanic Brewery will definitely help you live longer. There is also the value of community and what our pubs do and how they bring everyone together, whether it is fundraising for local charities, whether it's increasing the awareness of some illnesses, or whether it's just everyone coming together on a Sunday evening. Pubs are at the heart of our communities when other institutions are falling away. I will give way.
I congratulate her on making an excellent speech about the importance of pubs at the heart of our communities. We're losing so many of those community pubs because of the terrible imbalance for pubs in business, in our business rates regime. So I'm sure she will come on to it, but does she agree with me that that disparity in the payment of 2.8% to the entire business rates bill compared to 0.5% of turnover, an overpayment of £500 million a year, desperately needs addressing?
I will be touching on taxation in just a moment. I just want to also say about pubs and the role on British culture and society, because it is a core part of who we are. When people enjoy coming to the UK for tourism, an issue we need to discuss even more as we head towards Brexit, there is nothing more English on occasion, but also British, than holding a pint. And I just want to say that tonight at the Sentinel Business Awards, which I can't attend because of the debates in this House, everyone will be toasting their awards with a pint of local beer, because it is part of our community and it is part of our culture. So I'm afraid I've run out of time for interventions. In terms of the impact of taxation and the sector, Minister, I think there are some stark figures that we need to acknowledge that were touched on by my honourable friend for Sheffield Healy. Amazon UK paid £4.5 million in corporation tax last year. Black Sheep Brewery, chaired by the wonderful Andy Slee, a constituent in Stoke-on-Trent, paid £8 million in beer duty. Amazon UK has a turnover of £1.98 billion. Black Sheep Brewery has a turnover of £19 million. Minister, there is an issue here. In 2016, eBay UK paid £1.6 billion in corporation tax. Titanic Brewery paid 25% of their turnover to HMRC. That's £2 million. When you look at business rates and the disparity that was touched upon, when there was the rate evaluation last year, Titanic Brewery's pubs' rateable value went up by 20% across Staffordshire. The Amazon warehouse in Stoke-on-Trent fell by 10% in rateable value. This is a complete disparity. It is simply not fair for online and offline businesses. Breweries and pubs cannot move, nor would we want them to move, off the high street. We've touched on small business relief, but I'm going to run out of time. All I can ask the Minister at this point is that can he please look at the CEBA requests in terms of the impact of changes. We are at a point of a cliff edge for stopping investment for smaller brewers being able to go to the next level up unless this is smoothed out. And I'd also like to reiterate the invitation I gave to the Minister earlier this year to come and have a pint with me at Titanic Brewery at his earliest convenience.
Nigel Evans. Much, Mr Deputy Speaker. I declare an interest as